Hello everybody, welcome to this wonderful tarot card reading. I'm so young, welcome. So basically in this reading for Leo, as in for a Leo as a fire sign, this is going to be for June 4th to June 14th of 2025. So basically in this whole entire reading, I'm going to provide you what's happening in this situation, Leo. Pay attention to it because you need to understand about whatever it takes is beyond about that way of how it is, because you have to understand about what's happening in a diagram. Basically, we have to understand about how we're going to be doing it as a wonderful purpose of the way how it is. Where we have to believe that everything seems to be fine. We have to understand of how it is. We have to, do what it takes. But then that's the way it goes. We have to understand of what's going on in this whole entire situation because about what's happening in that way, right? We have to believe on our own situations, and we have to know what it takes because of how it is, where we have to remain of how it's going to be in that way. And you think, okay, well, everything's fine, I got this, but then it's like, how would you do it? How would you, wave how it seems to be? It's like how you can understand about how everything is, right? So you have to do exactly what you're told to do. You have to be responsible about how you're feeling. And it's the way it seems to be, right? So you have to understand that the way how this is, the way of how it seems to be, you need to understand about what's going on in that way. And you think that, okay, well, everything's fine, alright, I got this, I know what to do. But then it's like, okay, well, you have to be sincere, right? So when you're being sincere, you have to pay attention on how it is, and you think that, oh well, everything's fine and dandy, I need to do it. But then it's like, how would you understand that in one or another, right? That's the way it seems to be, right? So you have to compare and contrast about two things at once. You're comparing to yourself or you compare it to others, whatever it is. But you know what, Leo, you pay attention to how you're feeling because about how it is. You have to occur of how it is, right? You have to be on about that point, right? If you bend the needle or if you bend the whole entire way of how it is, that's the way it goes, right? You pay attention what's happening around that situation. But this is the way it goes. So I hope you all like this video. Please give a like, please like, comment if you want. And plus, I'm going to read you the oracle card. It says discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. So when you have your own discipline, you pay attention to how you're feeling, the way how you're feeling, where you're going to have disciplines in different ways. But then you have to understand about how it is one or another, right? You have to understand about, because this is the way of how it is. This is like a well-known balance about what's going on in that way, and you think, okay, everything seems to be crystal clear, I got this. But then it's like when you use your own discipline, you pay attention to it. That's what it seems to be. And when you do that, that's the way it kind of occurs. But that's how it seems to be in that way, because you have to know what it seems to be in that way. You have to do exactly what you're told to do, because you have to be responsible on how you're feeling. That's the way it goes, right? So that's how it seems to be. So in that way, you have to understand what it takes, but this is how it is. So I'm going to use one card of the reading, and then I'm going to clarify. So that's how it is. So here we go. So basically, it means that this is the Ace of Pentacles. It does represent Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, but it does represent basically money in this way. Like it could be prophecy. It could be where your own, how it is. But then that's the way it goes, right? So you have to understand about the way how this is, the way how you can understand about how you're feeling, the way how you can do it, right? You have to occur about what's going on in that way, and you're thinking, all right, well, this is the way it seems to be. I got this. It's like, yeah, but what's the point, right? You have to know what it takes, because you have to do exactly what you're told to do. Be responsible, right? Be responsible how you're feeling. Be responsible how you're going to interact. How you're going to be feeling. But the way of this is, the way of how you can understand that, that's the way it seems to be. You have to know what it takes, right? And you have to do exactly what you're told to do. You have to be responsible. So let's see what's going on through this whole entire reading. So we'll go from the middle to the left, middle to the right. So the Justice reversed, telling the truth. The Strength card is upright. The Ace of Cups is upright. Knight of Wands reversed. followed by the Queen of Cups reverse, followed by the Three of Wands reverse. Yeah, so there is no communication whatsoever. Just reverse, you're not telling the truth. I don't know why. The Strength card is upright because there's bravery. It does represent Leo as a fire sign, right? The Ace of Cups does represent Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio as another water sign. So you have to understand about how it seems to be in that way. You have to believe that everything seems to be fine. It's like, okay, I know what to do, I got this, but then that's the way it goes. But when you have no communication, it's like, why are you having no communication? Why? That's why it seems to be. But you have to understand what it takes, because that's the way it goes, right? This is the way of seems to be in one way or another, and you're thinking, alright, well, I need to pay attention to it. I need to get exactly the good results. That's the way it seems to be. And when you do that, you have to know exactly what you're told to do, because you have to be responsible in how you're feeling. That's why it seems to be. Everything has to be beyond that point, but then you have to do exactly what you're told to do, because you have to be responsible on how you're doing. That's how it seems to be. So it's also between the middle and the right side, please. King of Wands is upright, follow the Page of Swords is upright, follow the Two of Pentacles reverse, follow the Six of Cups reverse, followed by the Tower is upright. Yeah, because everything is transforming. Everything is transformation. Everything else. You're going to get education. That's the way it goes, right? And the King of Wands does represent maybe passion, or maybe it could represent you. It does whatever it is, right? So you have to understand that this is based on how you're thinking, but you have to know what it takes, right? You have to do exactly what you're told to do, because you have to be responsible on how you're feeling, how you're going to interact, how you're feeling. That's the way it goes, right? That's why this is the way it seems to be in one or another, and you have to know exactly what you're told to do. You have to be responsible on how you're feeling. So what's in the middle of this situation? The Six of Wands is alright, yeah, because you want celebration on your side, so you want to celebrate, you want to do exactly what you're told to do. You're thinking, okay, well, I want to do this, but then it's like, how would you do it? How would you understand about how you're feeling in one or another? This is the way it seems to be, right? So it's like, how would you that be in that situation? So I'm gonna go from the middle to the right, middle to the left. So High Priestess reverse, follow the Sun card is upright, follow the Lovers is upright, follow the Empress reverse, follow the Hermit is upright. Yeah, because basically, the Lovers is represents where you're making decisions. That's the way it goes. The Sun card, you're staying positive. The Hermit is upright. Does represents basically, solitude, but it does represent where you're going to find soulmate. Things are looking good, but then you have to understand about how you're feeling in one or another. That's the way it seems to be in that way, right? You're thinking, all right, this is great, but then this is the way it seems to be. I know what to do. So what's the other between the middle and the right side, or the left side? I mean, Magician reverse, followed by the Sun reverse, followed by the High Priestess reverse, followed by the Emperor reverse, followed by the Judgment reverse, followed by the Lovers reverse, followed by the Strength card is upright. Yeah, because it does represent Leo here, as another fire sign. So when you have basically Strength on the left side, you're paying attention to it. When you are seeing the Hermit reverse, the upright on the right side, you want to look for a soulmate. You want to be whatever you're trying to do. But when you're in negativity, when you're in that strong stretch of negativity, because beyond about this Sun card reversed here, that's negative, right? This is positive. So you pay attention on how you're feeling, but it's based on that. It's based on how you want to represent yourself, because you pay attention on how you're feeling, because you have to understand about the way of how you're feeling, the way how you're going to interact, and the way of how you're feeling. You pay attention, right? Because you have to understand that this is the way it seems to be, but then you have to pay attention on how you're feeling. That's why it seems to be that. So it's like, how would you represent yourself in order to do that, right? It's like you have to have your own peace of mind and saying, all right, well, I know what to do, I got this, but it's like, yeah, but it doesn't make any sense, right? You don't know exactly what you're told to do, because you have to be responsible on how you're feeling. That's how it seems to be that, because you have to know what it takes, and you have to do exactly what you're told to do, because let's see what's happening, because let's see what's going on in this situation. So going from the middle to the right, middle to left. Now, let's see what's going on. I'm going to clarify. Clarify for Leo, June 4th to June 14th, 2025. So let's see. So the Emperor is upright, followed by the 8 of Wands reversed, followed by the Sun reversed, followed by the King of Wands reversed, followed by the Lovers reversed. For the Magician is upright, yeah. So you want to have structure, but then you have skill, but then you're feeling negative at the same time. So beyond about this, you have to understand what it seems to be in that way, and you think that, okay, well, everything's fine, I need to do it. It's like, why? But when you're in negativity, why are you, onto that position? Like, why are you feeling like, everything seems to be fine? So let me clarify this Sun card here, because it does represent basically positivity. Like, it represents upright to you, but it does represent negativity in one or another. So I'm going to clarify that. 8 Pentacles reversed, so there's no perfection. 5 Cups sorry, there's grief. Yeah, because, everything is not perfect. No, it's not. But then you have to be understanding about how it is. So you could be representing that you could be dealing with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio as another water signs, another zodiac sign. So you pay attention to it. If you have skill, you pay attention. If you know what it takes, you know what it is, right? You have to know exactly what you're told to do, because you have to be responsible on how you're feeling. That's why it seems to be, right? Everything has to be occurring in one or another, right? This is the way it seems to be. What's happening between the middle and the left side? The 9 Pentacles reversed, but the Judgment is upright, but the 5 of Wands is upright. Yeah, it does represent chaos. That's the way it goes. The Judgment is upright. You're going to take action. The 9 Pentacles reversed. You're not having any trust, or you're not. That's the way it goes. I don't know why you're not having trust. I don't know why, but the way you have this is you have to pay attention on how you're feeling. It's based on that. It's based on how you can do it, because you have to be who you are and be, how it is in that way, in that format, because you pay attention about your own formula of the way how it goes, right? This is not a periodic table. This is not the science, it's not, right? But the way how this is, you have to pay attention on how you're feeling, because the way of how it is, right? That's why you need to understand about this the way it seems to be, because you need to have your own ways, your own rights, your own dignities, because that's how it is. What's in the middle? The 3 Pentacles are right, yeah, because you want celebration. You want things to be happening in one or another, and when you do that, it's like, okay, well, I need to figure this out. It's like, that's the way it seems to be. So it's like how it is in one or another, then you have to do exactly what you're told to do, be responsible. But the way how this is, the way of how everything seems to be fine, you do exactly what it is, right? You have to be responsible on how you're feeling, because about how everything is going to be in that way, right? That's the way it is. So that's the way it seems to be. So let's see what the universe is saying here, please. So I'm going to go from the middle to the right, middle to left. Right, so here we go. So the Queen of Swords reversed, there's no independence. The Hangman reversed, there's no stillness. The 3 of Wands reversed, there's no communication. The 8 Pentacles sorry, there's perfection. The 5 of Wands reversed, there's no chaos. But the 6 of Cups sorry, there's the past. Yeah, because you're basically saying that you're stuck in the past, because you're thinking about the past all the time, and it needs to stop. But when you have no communication whatsoever, why you're not communicating? That's why it seems to be that, right? It's the way how this is, the way how you need to see it in order to do it, you have to pay attention on how you're feeling. Because the way how this is, right, that's the way it seems to be. And when you pay attention, you know how it is. You know how you find that own discipline of how you're feeling, because that's how it seems to be. You pay attention what's going on in that way, because that's how it is, right? So if you have the Three of Wands reversed, means you have no communication. Let me clarify on that card, please. There's a Three of Swords here, there's no heartbreak. King of Pentacles, sorry, there's security, alright? But the Page of Wands, sorry, there's invention, alright? And the Two of Swords here, you already have the crossroads, because you're not exactly what you're going to be doing. Then the Emperor reverse, there's no structure here. But the Seven of Swords, sorry, because you're feeling deceit. Yeah, because you're feeling like, oh well, this is not going to end well for me, because that's how it seems to be, right? Because you're in that state, you know, you're in that way of how you can understand that. It's the way of how it is, right? You pay attention on how you're feeling, because that's how it is. You're not showing your independence. You're not doing what you're told to do. You have to be responsible on how you're feeling. You know, that's the way it goes. What's happening between the middle and the left side, please? Five of Swords, sorry, there's conflict here. There's revenge. The Page of Swords reverse, there's no education. Twin Cups reverse, there's no empathy. The Tower reverse, there's no transformation. Ace of Swords reverse, there's no anxiety. The Magician reverse, there's no skill. The Ten of Pentacles reverse, there's no vision. The Temperance reverse, there's no healing. So right there's decisions. Yeah, because that's the way it seems to be in that way, right? That's the way of how it kind of occurs. You know, that's the way it seems to be. What's in the middle of this situation here? The Ace of Wands reverse, there's no new beginnings. The Five of Pentacles reverse, there's no security. Ten of Cups reverse, there's no delusion. Two of Wands right, there's planning. Yeah, because you're going to plan on what's going to be happening. Because you're going to, you know, have your own ways about knowing what to do. You're going to understand how it takes. You know, that's the way it seems to be. So, you know, you have to pay attention to how this is. Leo, you pay attention to how you're feeling, because the way how this is, the way of how you can understand about how it is, you pay attention on how you're feeling, but the way how this is, right? That's why you need to understand about whatever it takes beyond about how you're feeling is the way of how it is, right? Everything is going to be, you know, who you are, but you pay attention on how you're feeling, how you're going to interact, how you're going to be, whatever it is. But you need to understand that this is the way of how it is, where if you have your own experience of having no communication whatsoever, having no trust, having whatever, why are you feeling like this, right? You're trying to stay positive one way, but then you're in negativity in another way. So you have to understand that you have to show your own independence, or you have to show your own discipline, because you pay attention on how it is, right? That's why it seems to be. But I hope you all like this video. Please give a like, please give a comment, and enjoy, because this is the way it seems to be, and this is how it is. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all, and I will see you next time when I do. This is how it seems to be. Thank you so much, and bye for now. Really, thank you, and bye.